ladies and gents, welcome back to the channel. Another week, another episode of The Last of Us TV series has landed. This one is episode 7, which is called Left Behind. Now, this is obviously going to contain huge spoilers, so if you haven't seen the episode yet, feel free to add this to your watch later list and come back and check this review out at another time. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, why not come and subscribe, and don't forget to leave a thumbs up as well if you do enjoy the content. So Left Behind, for those of you that have played The Last of Us DLC, it is the DLC. So we go back in time a little bit. This is pre sort of current events from episode 6. So I thought they were going to put Left Behind as episode 8, but we're not doing that. But I'm absolutely fine with how they've positioned it. And the episode itself holds up. There's not much action in it. There's a little bit towards the end, which we're going to talk about in the breakdown. But for me, this is all about character building. This is all about the drama of what the virus has caused. It's about Ellie's character. It's about Riley. It's about Ellie opening up for the first time ever with someone that she confides in quite well. But also, she is very much smitten with Riley. And they kind of share a few touching moments in this episode. And it's all really about Ellie, and it's about what she has left behind, and also how she moves forward into the current day with what we've seen already. So the episode starts off with Joel, following on directly from episode 6. He's bleeding out, and he's led there, and Ellie's trying to pack the wound, and she says, you know, I can't treat it, I can't do anything, what do you want me to do? And Joel just says, go north, just go to Tommy, leave me. And again, he goes back to that sort of idea that he believes Ellie's better off without him, and he's gone back to that idea a few times, and he just says, go to Tommy, go north, you'll be fine. We then get a flashback where Ellie's kind of sat there, she's stuck with what to do, and we get a flashback to what I thought was a juvenile prison. It goes a little bit orange is the new black, Ellie is the new orange, and she's running around in sort of like a workout area with other people, young kids her the same sort of age. And we find out this is actually sort of like a training camp for people to take out the Fireflies. So it's kind of like a boot camp, kind of like a martial law type area where they train people up to murder Fireflies, which seems pretty brutal. So that's going on. We get a few scenes of Ellie. She has some trouble with this girl. And then we jump forward to nighttime. Ellie's asleep. And she hears someone breaking in, and it's Riley. So Ellie is familiar with Riley. She's seen her a few times before. But what happens each time is that Ellie gets close to Riley. They share some moments. They kind of have a one-to-one. She gets on really well with her, but she keeps getting fed up of being left behind. So you can see where the theme is coming. And Riley keeps leaving. She keeps going back to the Fireflies. But what she says to Ellie when she breaks in, and she says, why don't you just come with me? We'll have a great time. We'll have some fun. And Ellie takes her up on the offer. So they both leave. And they go for a little night out, basically. And this is the whole plot of the episode. It doesn't get too intense. It doesn't get too action orientated. This is all about Ellie and Riley and about their sort of relationship, both the strengths of that relationship and the weaknesses, and also they're just being raw with each other. They're just coming out and just saying what they feel is the issue, what they feel. Ellie sort of comes out and says to Riley towards the end, you know, I'm fed up with you leaving. It's the second time you're going to do it, and this time you're going to go permanently. You know, why did you even take me out? And she gets really upset and angry about it. And Riley kind of just teaches her that you have to grab the moments as and when you can get them. So it's not just about, you know, doing what you need to do, following the suit and staying safe, essentially. But sometimes you do need to just treat yourself, be fun, go out and have fun, and essentially cherish those moments. So that's kind of the gist of the episode. There's nothing, as I said, crazy in terms of action. There's a little bit of a scene with a stalker / clicker. That we'll go about that and talk about that later on as and when it happens. So anyway, going back to what I was saying, we then jump forward to Riley and Ellie exploring the local area. Riley talks about the Fireflies, and they have essentially a teen date. They share stories, they talk about their roots, their struggles, and what I thought was really cool, and I think what Neil Druckmann is really good at, and also his team that's behind this series generally, they're really, really good at building character emotion, but also as an audience, like, you care about that character. Even if you've just seen that character, you care about that character so much by the end of the episode. We saw it with the Bill and Frank episode. We saw it with Sarah in the very first episode. We saw Sarah for all of 20 minutes? And for those of you like myself that have played the game, you know what's going to happen to Sarah. You know she gets wasted. You know she gets murdered, essentially. And it still didn't take away the punch of seeing it on the episode when it actually happened. And it's the same story here. We get to spend a lot of time with Riley. We know a lot about Ellie, but she also, we learn a little bit more about her roots and why she is the way she is, and why she is quite stern, and why she is quite uptight initially when she meets Joel, why she's quite fed up because she's been let down and she's dealt with loss on a massive scale. She essentially has lost someone that she really cares about and she really loves, and she's going through that whole cycle again with Joel. So this is all about Ellie, really. It's a Ellie origin episode of sorts, and also it's just about how she builds that relationship with Riley. So as I said, I think the direction and the team and the production on how they get us to care about these characters in such a short space of time is amazing. I think it's really, really cool. Obviously, with the game, you've got hours upon hours to spend time with Joel and Ellie, to spend time with these characters, and to really get to like them and to hate them. But to be able to get a really packed story, a packed dialogue, some comedy, some action in there, also just going from introducing the character to knowing that Ellie really cares about the character and us not having to try and work that out for ourselves, and then closing the episode with, we know that character's dead, but actually we really do care about that character as well, all in the space of an hour, is crazy. So I think the production team and the direction really do need to be, our hats need to be tipped on this one. I think they've done an amazing job, and I think that's been the case through the whole series, with all the new characters that we see and the ones that leave us sort of within the same episode as well. So Riley's another great example of that. So as I said, they carry on talking about their roots, their struggles. There's great chemistry there, and then it reminds me very much of Tommy's character, Sarah's. And like I said, even when you know what's going to happen, if you've played the games, it still hits home. When we know what's going to happen to Riley, it's the same story. Riley gets her end, her demise, by the end of the DLC. And it's changed slightly with the DLC. Some of the events in the DLC are slightly different to what you see in the episode, but I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think they've done it quite masterfully, and the most important parts, i.e. the character building, the dialogue, the time spent, the actual hard-hitting punch that we know Riley doesn't survive that. We don't need to see what happens to Riley, and I'll go on that in a second. I'm trying not to go off on a tangent, but I thought it was a really great episode, and I think it just encompasses how you can just have an episode that is just about dialogue, that is just about character building, and it's so pivotal to the story, and you don't need to have armies of clickers and stalkers and bloaters everywhere. You don't need fighting every 2 minutes. This is a great example of that, and I think they've done the DLC justice. One of the key things that I was really sort of worried and concerned about when I first heard about this TV series is, holy shit, they're going to mess with the source material, they're going to change some of the plot, they're going to change some of the characters. Look what they've done with Rings of Power. I know it was Amazon, but fuck me, we're going to go through that whole shit again. But they didn't. They absolutely smashed it. Naughty Dog worked really well with HBO, and HBO have got a good track record, to be fair, and I think we've got the series that we deserved. We've only got 2 more episodes left, which I'm absolutely gutted about, but it is what it is. We are getting a season 2, and like I've said before, my only worry and gripe now is that season 2, if it is going to follow the same pattern as this season, is not going to be as good. Bank on it. But hopefully they've learnt from the feedback. They've learnt from some of the critic scores. I know that it won Game of the Year and stuff like that, which I disagree with. I feel it was a little bit rigged. But hopefully they've learnt from their mistakes and they changed the script ever so slightly, even with what they've done here with the DLC. They've done it with some of the characters in this series. They've done it with some of the plot, some of the scenes, some of the areas that they visit. They've expanded some, cut some out, condensed others. And I think if they do that with season 2, it'll be fine. But it is just a little worry that I hope they don't just go completely down the middle and go, yeah, season 2 was great, we won an award, let's just copy the material. Oh, no. You need to change some shit for season 2 before that lands, or we're going to be in trouble. So, as I said, we get some love interest scenes. We then find Riley and Ellie go into a mall. So Riley sort of takes, I always get the wrong side. This is what you see here, the merry-go-round is inside the mall. So Ellie sort of opens the door, all the lights come on, and she's like, holy shit, like, people are going to find us here. There's going to attract stalkers and things, and Riley's like, no, it's fine, it's all undercover, nobody can see it, it's all good. So they essentially just have a great time. The whole episode is them just going around, doing a bit of shopping, doing a bit of looting, playing on the arcade machines. They have a really cool scene where they play Mortal Kombat 2, which I thought was great. And they just spend a lot of time with each other. They just talk about everything from the Fireflies to what they're going to do next, where Ellie's going, where Riley's going. And Riley just basically hits home that she's not going to be here forever. She is essentially now part of the Fireflies. Ellie kind of says, why do you keep going back to the Fireflies? What good do? They murder people, this, that, and the other. And Riley's like, you're wrong. They're a family. They've given me a home. They needed me, and I only needed them. I don't have a place to call home. I don't have anyone to call home. And Ellie's kind of like, well, it could be me. And they could just kind of share like a moment. They have a little love interest. And we kind of see a really soft side to Ellie. At this point, we've seen Ellie, apart from the times when she's protected Joel, and they have little downtime chats, but it's brief. We don't really see Ellie's soft side. She comes across like this little hard ass, little broken out of juvie type of attitude, and she's just giving people shit all the time, and rightly so. And this is why this is such a great episode, because it shows us why Ellie is the way she is in the present day, in the episode sort of timeline where we are now, why she does what she does, why she says what she says, why she has very little trust for people. And it takes her a long time to open up, and this is why, because she's struggled through so much grief, and she's almost been given that dangling of the carrot of hope, peace and joy, even in a time when this virus is running rampant and there's people chewing each other. She met Riley, and then she's had to deal with the death of Riley. She's had to deal with, how that feels and move away from it, and she probably feels betrayed. She probably feels it's unfair. She's probably angry, all the stuff you go through when you're grieving, but she... it's such a brilliant episode. It's treated so well. And I think, again, the title Left Behind, it hits home in so many different ways. It's Ellie being left behind. It's Riley leaving her old life behind. It's Ellie moving away from the old Ellie and becoming the Ellie we know she is now, leaving that behind. They're physically leaving stuff behind by going to visit this Mal. It just is such a clever name for the episode. And I think what they've really done a great job of here is... yes, lifting the DLC into this episode so we exactly see what the DLC is like, pretty much, case in point. But also, it gives us a bit of time with the characters. It gives us a bit more time with Ellie. It helps us understand what she's had to leave behind and why she has had to essentially grow up and become the Ellie that she is, and how she's managed to get so far on her own, being so young. So, we get then a very nice merry-go-round scene, which is what you see here. And they're just enjoying the time together. They're enjoying a small amount of peace in between all this madness that's going on. They spend time talking about, jokes and stuff. Ellie finds the book where she goes through all the jokes. This is where the jokes come from, which was a nice little Easter egg. They go into a photo booth and they take loads of pictures. They go on the amusements. They go on the slot machines, all that kind of stuff. We see a really somber moment there where they're doing all this and the camera sort of moves away from what they're doing, and I thought, holy shit, it goes really sort of dark. There's lights flickering, and it sort of pans down the hallway, and all of a sudden you just see this clicker / stalker that's kind of pinned to the wall that wakes up and pulls itself off the wall, and you think, oh shit, here we go. This is how this is going to end. But I just thought it was really, really cleverly directed, because one minute you've got this sort of peace, happiness, and it just keeps hammering home that actually this doesn't last very long. It's the same sort of direction as what they did in Game of Thrones. You get this moment of, oh, it's all peaceful, it's all great, oh, look at these brilliant characters, and then bang, Red Wedding. It's the same sort of principle here. You get used to Ellie and Riley very quickly having a good time. You forget that there's a virus going on, which they do as well. They're going out enjoying themselves. They're in these, slot machines. On the merry-go-round, they're having a heart-to-heart. They hold hands, and it's like, oh. And then all of a sudden, the camera pans back, and yeah, we're straight back into the world that we forgot we were in. And that's kind of what the team want you to feel. And it's exactly how we feel as an audience. And straight away I thought, oh, it's coming to an end. You almost forget, even though I've done the DLC, I've done both games. I've played the first game multiple times. You just know. You know what's coming, but still you see it and you think, oh, no. No. I don't want it to go this way. I don't want it to go this route. It's too fun. It's too enjoyable. And when you can feel that, knowing what's coming in the script and knowing what's coming in the plot and the story, but you still feel emotionally wrecked by it, then I think the production team have done an absolutely fantastic job. And the actors as well. The girl that plays Riley is fantastic in this as well. Pays the character from the game homage, I think. Ellie, it is just Ellie. As I said, I'm so glad Bella Ramsey proved me wrong. I had some serious worries about when they casted Ellie. I thought, oh, Bella Ramsey, really? It's a bit of an odd pick. Can she do what Ellie does? Does she sound like Ellie? She doesn't look like Ellie. Pedro, on the other hand, he's a master. He can pull stuff off. We've seen him in some amazing things, different roles, and he's amazing at everything. So I had no worries about Joel's character, but when I heard about Bella, I thought, I didn't really gauge her from the first episode either. Second one, she shut me up. And then from the second episode on, she's been absolutely fantastic. And I think I'm so glad I was proven wrong and my worry was just quickly kicked out of the window, because she does Ellie justice. She does it in her own way. There's little quirks and little things that she does in terms of like mannerisms, one-liners, jokes, just the way she is, the way she carries herself, her bravado a little bit is the Ellie from the game. But you can also see elements of Bella in there. If you go and watch sort of interviews with her and you look at some of the behind-the-scenes footage, you can absolutely see Bella in Ellie's character. And I think that's great, because she's obviously comfortable in the shoes of Ellie. She must have so much fun playing Ellie. And I think when you're comfortable with the character and you almost become one with the character, don't you? And then it just beams onto our screen in that way as well. So really, really good. So then we go back to we see the clicker, we see the stalker, and then Riley starts talking in a bit more depth to Ellie about the fireflies. So this is what I mentioned earlier when I said that Ellie was upset that Riley's going to leave, and this time it's going to be permanently. Why are you going to leave? Riley talks about the fireflies, how they gave her a home, basically. And Ellie says, you don't need to do that. You could stay with me. I could be your purpose. And Riley's like, don't know if I can let people down. Ellie gets into a natural massive piss, walks out, pushes stuff over. It says, well, fuck you then, I'm going, bye. You don't need to say sorry, I'm gone, you've already done it. She walks out so far, and then she realises that she's made a bit of a mistake. She can't leave on bad terms. She knows this is probably the last time she's going to see her. So she turns around and goes to try and make amends. On the way back, she hears a little scream. And we think it's Riley being attacked. When Ellie goes in, we see this little sort of graveyard prop, this sort of ghoul that's popping up screaming. So it's not Riley. And she's just sort of sat behind the counter and she's all surprised. And then they instantly reignite their passion for each other. It's really touching. And they sort of clown about. They find these masks. Riley gets out like a Walkman. She unplugs the headphones so it plays out loud. Ellie puts on like a wolf mask and Riley puts on a clown mask, and they stand on top of the counter in this what looks like a jewelry store, just dancing. They share a little kiss, and then Ellie says, please don't go. And Riley's like, okay, I won't. And I'm like, oh no, like it's just that thing. They finally reach an agreement. They finally get together, and it's being ripped from our hands. Again, HBO, Game of Thrones type fashion. It's the same stuff, and it works. It's writing that works, and I love the script. As I said, they share a kiss, and she says, yeah, okay, fine, I won't go. Just as they're about to sort of settle down, they share a little embrace, they share a little smile, and then the fucking clicker / walker turns up. Stalker, walker, whatever the fuck it is. I think it's a clicker, but it doesn't click. So I think it's a stalker at the latter end, and it's transitioning into a clicker, because you get the whole full facial mushroom type, like fungi. But it's not quite clicking yet. I didn't hear it clicking. So I think it's a stalker on steroids, basically, just before it turns into a clicker. So this thing just rushes out in between the clothes. And then Riley pulls out a gun. She shoots it a couple of times and she says, run. And they're both running through. And there's a bit of a scramble. We keep seeing Riley grab the clicker or get taken down by the clicker. Ellie saves her. The clicker then goes for Ellie, and it sort of goes back and forth a little bit. They keep sort of saving each other by drawing attention and getting the thing off of them. It ends with Ellie getting a flip knife out, and she stabs it in the head. It falls down, stone cold dead, and she's like, holy shit, and they kind of laughs, and then Riley's kind of looking a little bit cold, a little bit just plain, and Ellie's like, what? And Ellie shows Riley her bite, and then Ellie starts getting really upset, because at this point she doesn't know that she's not going to turn. She doesn't know that she's immune to the virus. Riley Riley also shows her bite, and they both sort of feel absolutely gutted. So Ellie naturally, and this is the best scene for me in this whole episode, there's a clip where the camera's sort of slowly panning in. Riley sat with her back against the counter. She's got her head down, just like crying, just completely full of emotion, but emotionless at the same time, just staring blankly at the camera. And in the background, Ellie's just going around, just smashing everything, smashing through all the countertops, saying, what the fuck, and screaming, this ain't fair. And it just goes to show, like, how the two characters could be so different, but they're so equal at the same time. They need each other, they want each other, they're right for each other. Riley's dealing with it in her way, and Ellie's dealing with it in her way, but they're both sharing the same experience. And it's such clever writing, and I just love the way that the cinematography was done, with the camera sort of panning in, and you just see them both, and they're reacting in their individual ways, but it looks like they're united as well, and they're suffering from the same fate, or what we think is going to be the same fate. So really, really cool scene. I really enjoyed it, and I thought, that's really shit. And then we cut back to Joel, and Ellie. Then the episode kind of shows you that Ellie's learnt from that experience. And in her head, she's gone back in time. She remembers what happened with Riley. Joel says to her, just go north, just give up. And Ellie's like, no, fuck this. Because the last conversation Riley had with Ellie is Riley saying to her, you know, it's not about the right thing. It's about what you do with the time that you have. It's about not giving up. It's about being strong. And it's about, you know, your last moments together. It shouldn't be us sat here crying about us dying. It should be us enjoying each other. It should be us having fun. It should be us just enjoying the time. The time is, yes, it's a deadline, but actually we should still enjoy it as much as we can. And Ellie kind of looks at her like, yeah, shit, you're right. And she's learnt that lesson because Joel's saying to her, just give up, just leave me, I'm bleeding out, I'm done, you're important, not me, go north, go to Tommy, he'll look after you. And actually Ellie kind of looks at him and says, shut the fuck up, Joel. And she goes and finds stuff to pack his wound with, and she sort of doesn't give up. And it was just really cleverly written. The script was great because it follows on naturally from the lesson that Ellie has clearly learnt from the episode, in that it doesn't matter how much time you've got, you should never give up, you should always have hope. And it is an episode filled with hope. It's an episode filled with strength and courage, even in the darkest moments when actually you've been given a death sentence, which Riley did. Ellie dealt with it a certain way, it didn't work. And she learned from Riley in that respect and took that lesson forward. And now she's applying it to the situation with Joel. And ultimately, we know it saves Joel and he doesn't die. Spoiler. And, you know, everything's all good. So that's what it ends on, essentially. It cuts back to Joel and Ellie. She finds all the stuff she needs to pack his wound with. Everything's all good. And it ends with Ellie doing something quite gruesome and being an adult in the situation. Again, it's a lesson she's taken from Riley, and she is sewing up the wound. So you see the open gash that Joel's got. He's in absolute agony. Ellie, being the brave girl that she is, gets a needle and a bit of thread, and she starts sewing the fucker up. Like, you see everything, and Joel's like, crying in agony, and Ellie's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. You can see the determination on her face, and you can see through the brilliant acting that Bella was doing that all she's thinking of is Riley in that moment. Remember what Riley said, do what Riley said, be strong, be passionate, be in the moment, and don't give up. And she hasn't given up on Joel, and she didn't give up on Joel. And that's how the episode ends. So for me, like I said, very, very small action. It was just a tiny little section where we had that stalker interaction and they both got bit. But honestly, for me, this episode was all about emotional storytelling. It was about building character, introducing Riley as a character, and then killing her off straight away. But like I said, it'd be amazing if they had 12 episodes. If they had 12, 15 episodes, even 18, can you imagine some of the stuff that we would get out of this? But I'm just left wanting more. I'm just left wanting more time. I'm just left wanting a little more from the characters, and that hour absolutely flies by. Even the episodes that are sort of like an hour 20 minutes, an hour 30 minutes, it feels like you've been watching it for 20 minutes. You just get settled into it. You just feel that excitement, and all of a sudden, bang, credits come up, and you're like, fuck, I got to wait another week. So whenever you feel that, and I haven't felt that a long time in a TV series, then it's done a great job. And I felt it with House of the Dragon. Before that, it was probably Game of Thrones. Breaking Bad's a great one, but you don't really get these TV shows that come along very often that absolutely smash you to pieces in terms of emotion, and you get absolutely glued to the screen. You almost black out and you just watch and you absorb, and that's kind of what I get from this TV series. Like I said, and I keep saying it, I think it's the best video game adaptation on a TV screen we're ever going to see, at least for now. Haven't got much hope for God of War. Sorry, haven't got much hope for the Halo series is shit. It's just, it just goes to show, if you've got the right passion and you work with the people that made what it was successful, and you don't lift too much of the source material, you expand on it, you cast right, you let the script speak for itself, you get a good writing team, you can't really go wrong. But a lot of people and a lot of things have happened elsewhere that have gone to shit. This one, thankfully, is a great TV series. I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm gutted that we've only got 2 episodes left, but it's great TV. It's something that I'm really passionate about reviewing, and I hope you guys have been enjoying these reviews each week. Please do leave a thumbs up if you do, if you enjoy them. It really does help support the channel. It pushes the video out to other viewers and spreads the word, basically. But I really enjoy talking about it. The Last of Us is a franchise that I am really passionate about. It's a universe that I really get involved in, and I think it was one of the very first PS3 games that I played when it first came out, and I was blown away by it. I love the multiplayer on it as well. I think, and I've heard, that they're going to be bringing in a Last of Us multiplayer game, which would be great, because I remember there being a mode in the original Last of Us game that had hunters and fireflies. It was kind of like Team Deathmatch. It was kind of like COD, but you had separate teams. One of you was like blue, one was orange, one was fireflies, one was hunters. You could, I don't know if you could pick your character. I don't think you could. It was like a random character skin, but you could have like, you could craft as well. You could go to certain workbenches on a map and you can craft like a baseball bat that had nails in it. You could put down nail bombs. You had your guns and stuff like that. It was essentially Team Deathmatch, but in the Last of Us world, and it was great. I spent loads and loads of hours on it. When it first came out, I took a shitload of time off work to play it as well, after I completed the main game. So hopefully we're going to get that. Hopefully we get a really good, revamped, up-to-date version of that, but with obviously the core aspects that worked really well when it first came out. So hopefully that's going to be coming down the pipeline soon as well. So yeah, episode 7 in the bag, left behind. Now I'm feeling left behind because we got to wait another week, but if I was to give this an honest rating, guys, it's an easy 9 out of 10. Thinking about absolutely everything, the direction, the characters, considering again the fact we only had an hour, there was very little action, I still came away very satisfied with this episode. Yes, some of the DLC aspects changed for the episode versus the game, but you don't always need it spelled out for you. We didn't see Riley die in this episode, but we just know she did. We know Ellie's been bitten. We know she is immune to the virus, or she can repel it at least. And Riley can't. And that works for both people that have played the game and people that haven't. We know at this point what being bitten means. And I think not seeing Riley die, like on screen, hits harder sometimes than actually seeing it. And it was, you know, it hit hard with Sarah, but sometimes, you know, you just, when you've worked it out in your head and they just leave you enough information for you to piece together and you think, shit, they've died now, and that's how they've died. You create that picture for yourself, and I think sometimes that's more emotionally wrecking than actually seeing it and having it spot out for you. So I really liked it. I really, really enjoyed it. I don't think there was anything that could have been done a little bit better. I just think some of the dialogue was a little bit quirky, a little bit cheesy, which is why it's not a perfect 10 out of 10. But that is honestly me just being absolutely finicky and picky. Other than that, I think it was fantastic. Riley was a great character. Ellie is fantastic as usual. Great set pieces. Love that they've lifted a lot of the dialogue out of the DLC. They've used some of the same set pieces, the merry-go-round, the mall, the photo booth, all that kind of thing. And I like that they went with a little taste of something else. I like that they changed it a little bit so that we didn't actually see Riley die, but we had enough information to know how she died, and that made it a little bit more tragic for me. So 9 out of 10. Fantastic episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Stay tuned for the channel for more content. I will be streaming again very soon. You have my word. In the next few days, we will be carrying on with the Maiden of Blackwater playthrough. I also want to be doing a little bit more Hogwarts Legacy, so if you guys want to see more content on that, let me know in the comments. Hit me up on TikTok, Twitter, or PSN. Or stay tuned for more game previews. There's going to be a Resident Evil 4 demo coming out soon, and I will be trialing that. I don't know if it'll be live, but the content will definitely be there. The podcast is going to be picked up very soon when my mind's in a better space and I've got a bit more time. That will be happening as well. And we will be doing a full playthrough of that, by the way, on the channel. Resident Evil 4 Remake. Cannot wait. And naturally, I've got a couple more videos to do in terms of reactions that you guys have sent me as well that I need to have a look at and do some live reactions with you lovely people as well. But until next time, stay tuned. We've got episode 8 next week. Only one more after that. Gutted. And then we'll do a wrap-up session and then more to come. So stay tuned to the channel, guys. Like I said, please leave a thumbs up if you do enjoy the video and the content, and subscribe as well if you're brand new. If you don't want to miss any future videos like this or any other live streams, feel free to hit the bell icon on the channel homepage and you'll be notified as and when they drop. Take care of yourselves and I'll see you again soon. Peace.